Today on Shift Chats, I'm joined by a visionary who truly shifts the energy of any room he walks in. We're talking about Ryan Sherman, is a creative director, the founder of the Concept Studio, and the mastermind behind experiences that move people from the inside out. From producing magic for airlines, working for the FDA, and styling hair, he has curated soul-centered spaces just like the one we're in right now. Ryan's work is a beautiful fusion of intention and artistry. As we honor Coming Out Month, Ryan opens up about self expression, identity, and the shift that comes from truly standing in your truth, creatively and personally. Remember, the shift is happening now. Let's pause for a second, because it's fly.
My God. We can cut and then we can we can cut, reset. But then we can roll. Yeah. And we can still tape the reset. Yeah. Because Jonathan, kill that fly.
Listen, the fly ain't behind your head.
Let's give sis some watermelon. My God, this fly was gonna kill me. Okay, it's fine. Swatter, it's fine.
Listen, I'm gonna swat it with this book if I can. Got him.
Did you?
Yep. I'm a good fly swatter, baby. We just need a napkin. Did you record that? Jonathan's like, of course I did. It's funny. Welcome to Shift Chats. I'm your host, Clarendria Addison, author and therapist. Today, I have a peer friend. We became fast friends. We're going to talk about it. Ryan Sherman, welcome.
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm the same OG.
Okay.
You know me.
Now, we're not going to be cutting up too much here today. We got to focus and we got a plan that we going to...
I'm known to cut up.
I know. So listen, before we get started, because I'm already feeling it. Let's pop open the wine.
Okay, all right, cool.
And
we have such a setup here.
The spread is fabulous. Yeah. We are at the Chanel Estates, y'all. Ryan's studio. Tell us a little bit about the studio, Ryan.
So the Chanel Estate. Let me come on back to the mic. Right. The Chanel Estate
you want me to hold? I'll hold the glass.
Help me out. The Chanel Estate is our creative design space. You know, as a part of the Concept Studios, we're a network agency and a creative design space. So this is essentially one of our spaces that we utilize. Oh. Let's grab one more. So.
Right.
That we use for different purposes. It's essentially our home showroom.
Okay.
So we see a lot of clients here for individual reasons, podcast purposes. I do hair here sometimes.
Okay.
Cheers.
More money. We're going to try to make this through, y'all.
More money, less problems.
So I have to say my little spiel because I haven't done this. But I affirm on this podcast that I attract aligned guests, that I am into purposeful conversations in powerful rooms. And this journey is already, the audiences are already drawn to me. And we're going to get into it.
Let's do it.
So I usually ask, my first question is, and you're probably going to be like, oh, Lord. So I asked you to send me a picture. And so the question is, what would you say to your younger self when you look back now?
Go for your dreams. Go for your dreams. They're going to work.
I love that. I love that.
They're going to work.
I love that. So, first question. You're known for curating spaces that feel like sacred experiences, immersive, emotional, and unforgettable. What's a moment in your journey where you realized your creativity was a form of spiritual storytelling?
Mm. Um, I think that over time, just, growing up, we lived in a lot of different apartment spaces, or different homes. My mom was very intricate. My family,
Mm-hmm.
furniture, pictures, art,
Right.
clothing. So um, I didn't realize until I was much older that my people were doing a lot with a little.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother, she was a huge garage seller. Like we
Okay.
would go
I was just
garage.
gonna ask, did that translate into like
Oh man,
thrifting and
yeah.
garage sales and
Everything that I do now, is a representation of something that's a part of the past. I mean, like
okay.
even my partner, he sometimes he talks about how sometimes I can slightly be a pack rat or a
Mm-mm.
hoarder. I feel
Well,
like
this
it's
space does not feel packed rat or hoard. No,
well,
it is not given that.
we create a good balance,
Yeah, okay.
We create a good balance. He's, one of the number one um people that's a part of this team that kind
Okay.
of helps me balance out what's necessary versus what's not. But I had an aunt. I had an aunt that we used to call a pack rat. And we used to be
Okay.
like, she's a hoarder. But I mean, it was all good stuff, you
Right.
know?
Right. But
So,
everything needs to have a space, a
right.
place and a space. Because I remember a couple of months ago when you came to my house, you was just looking around like,
I'm,
and my house is now. Let me tell y'all, honey, I'm
it's
definitely type
good.
A,
It's
but he was
good.
like, and I want to do this, and I want to do like he had a whole vision
I'm just,
in 20 minutes.
I mean, like, I'm so meticulous. Like, me and my sister shared rooms for years,
Okay.
and we're 10 years apart.
Mm.
We shared rooms for years. She had her side, and I had my side. My thing stayed on my side.
Okay.
Her thing stayed on her side. If we swapped sides, we had a problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was always like that.
Right.
We shared restrooms. I would have fits. I'm a boy, she's a girl. It's just as we got older, it just did not work, and we
Right.
knew it.
Yeah.
I have a number of sisters, a big family, so
Okay.
but they're all different, and
Mm-hmm.
I love them for different reasons. But yeah, I definitely know that being in those different spaces, those different homes,
Mm-hmm.
building those different friendships, it made a big difference for me, being able to identify who I wanted to be in those
Okay.
spaces.
Okay. I appreciate
It was
that.
developmental for sure.
Now, we first met at an event that you curated, and I said to you then, we got to work together.
Y'all,
Like,
she
I
stopped me
knew,
outside, y'all.
listen. And now I feel like it's a circle back, a full circle moment.
Hmm.
So, what do they reveal? What does that reveal to you about timing and alignment?
Um, I really feel like I'm really strong about right place, right time,
Mm-hmm.
but I also know that um, you have to hold yourself accountable for the spaces that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So, my aunt, she used to always tell me that, you dress for the role,
Mm-hmm.
and funny thing is that particular day I was not dressed for the role. Um,
You weren't dressed, but you were in the role.
but I was working, like I was working, and so I think that also, resonates with me for the vice versa of that,
Mm-hmm.
where you could be so hard into your role that you don't have to be
Yeah.
dressed.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things that I hold to perspective, in any space that I'm in,
Right.
is that I am my portfolio,
Yeah.
and what do I have to show in that moment that's going
Mm-hmm.
to attract someone to want to book me?
Yeah.
And like I said from the beginning, follow your dreams, they
Yes.
will work.
Right. I
you
love
know
that because when we were in that space, and it's funny because I feel like a month or two after that, you had made a post and you said something like, you the handler. And I was like, absolutely, that is your name, the handler. Because in that moment, I didn't know what you did. I didn't know if you were a creative director. I didn't know if you were an assistant. I didn't know but you were in that space for that event, handling everything. And I was just like, yeah, I need to. And I didn't even know in what capacity or what it was going to look like. I just knew like, yeah, we
Yeah.
going to have to,
My
yeah.
dad, my dad, people used to call him, I mean, he used to say things like, I'm gonna handle it, so
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
lot of my taglines and just, personas are really based on my lifestyle experiences.
Okay.
It's real to me,
Yeah.
it's very real. Our culture, unfortunately, we get misled and
Mm-hmm.
we get misrepresented in so many different ways, and so it's important for me to represent us in the best way possible.
Right.
And if not us, at least me.
Yeah.
You bet on yourself and you cheat yourself out
Yeah.
of the work. Then who else can you rely on?
Mm-hmm. I love it. So I'm glad that's a perfect segue. We're gonna get right into it. Look, I got to take my shoes off for this, and pass me some fruit, honey,
Kick off
cause
your shoe. Well, what would you like? We have watermelon,
I'm gonna
strawberries,
give me a
pineapples,
little
and
watermelon.
cantaloupe.
Give me the watermelon.
Okay, then.
And I want to talk about, because we segueing right into it, because this is coming out month,
Mhm.
and it carries many layers: freedom, fear, expansion. And so, can you walk us through what coming out looked and felt like for you, and how that experience shaped your lens as a creative and as a Black queer man?
Uh, um, Coming out for me was not it wasn't the easiest. Um, it was very intense. The the black community is not as welcoming to or during this time
Mm-hmm.
was not
And
as
how long
welcoming.
ago would you say? Because how old are you?
Uh,
If you want to share,
oh
it's up to
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. I think I look good for my age. I think I'm 37.
Okay.
I'll be 38 in a few weeks.
Okay.
So this is, early 2000s. This is, a lot of things were riding the bar.
Okay. So you were young, not quite teen yet.
I'll say teenager.
Okay.
Yeah. Let my family tell it, they felt like that they knew along the way,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um,
Interesting you say that, and let me interject for just 1 second, because I have a cousin of mine and who is gay,
mhm.
and I remember like my aunts and my family saying, "Oh, we knew he was gay when he was like 2."
I don't get it. I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of stories, but when you actually reveal, who you would like to be, it's such a shock.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're telling me you knew, and I'm telling you that, I'm going to live this,
Okay.
and then it's, boom.
So tell us the story. So did you sit down like with your mom and your dad, just with your mom, like?
So funny thing, like my dad was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Good.
So cool. Like, he was very just the same as, the rest of my siblings. There's eight of us.
Okay.
There's eight plus another four of us, like
Mm-hmm.
we're a large family. But he was with all of us, he was very, you know, I want you to be who you are and I want you to be the best
Mm.
of who you are. So he was like, if you're gonna be gay, I want you to be the gayest gay ever. And I
Okay.
was like, well, hell yeah. Like I was like, okay, that it really put me into
Wow.
the perspective of like, I'm gonna do this,
Mm-hmm.
if it's what I wanted to do. And
Yeah.
he was down for it. There wasn't much conversation. He was not nosy.
Mm.
I would even have some guys that I talked to that would come by the house and he
Okay.
knew it,
Oh
but
wow.
he knew, but it was just he had a very strong line level of respect,
Mm-hmm.
and I respected that.
Right.
So
So with these are just these my friends come and hang out. We not gonna be inappropriate. We're not gonna do
Yep.
anything that's just
Yep.
like if we were if
And
I had friends over as a
and
yeah.
to this day, even within the presence of my mom will tell you, like, I am not the inappropriate child. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to push those limits. I'm just not that person,
Right. So let's talk about it when you say push those limits, because I know, first off, thank you for sharing. And I know that for Black families, since we're having this conversation, that your experience is not the ideal experience,
No.
right? That's why, like, I know T.S. Madison has that home that she started, I believe, in Atlanta,
Yeah.
for queer
It's
and I also want to
necessary.
talk about language as well, because, for
Yeah.
me as a therapist, like, I feel like I have the experience of working with different clients, and I'll say to them, like, as we're going through this process, I need you to, bless you,
Thank you.
I need you to educate me, right? Because I don't, just because I'm a therapist doesn't mean I know all of the
Yeah.
rules and the dialect and the language and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's get into that.
So, that was more of my mom's conversation. That was more of my mom's conversation. My mom was not the easiest. Um, she wasn't the easiest to come out to.
Okay.
I grew up in church as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, that there was a lot of those, biblical moments that, I just was not interested in abiding by, or
Okay.
I wasn't even interested in listening to at that point. I had lived through life a little bit. I had seen some things, so I was a very I could say, to a certain extent, combative child
Okay.
during this time. And I think it was because of the differences between, trying to gain that understanding,
Mm-hmm.
being naive, and then also, just being ignorant to,
Right.
to what was going on,
Yeah.
So my mom was really more so on like the safety,
Mm-hmm.
and I had my cousin, he passed. He
I'm sorry
passed
to hear that.
a few years ago, maybe about 10, 15 years ago. And he had some different complications and some lifestyle changes
Mm-hmm.
that he experienced that we were unfortunately not aware of. And we weren't able to be there for him the way that we could have if
Okay.
we would have known.
Mm-hmm.
So during his, last days, it was really important to me to make sure that he wore clothes that he liked, and he
Right.
got a haircut, and because
Yeah.
I mean, he's still human.
Right.
And so with that, and just kind of like, the epidemic of things that were happening, my mom was scared for my life,
Mm-hmm.
so I can understand that now a lot more versus then.
Yeah.
Because then I'm just like, I just need you to accept what I got going on,
Right.
mind your business, or mind my
Yeah.
business, and we're gonna live on.
Thank you for that. And it's interesting that you say that, because as a parent of a bisexual son, um, I had that same experience with the safety part of it, right?
Hmm.
So, like, when he was in high school, he came to us, me, my ex-husband and I, and was like, he wrote this letter and all these things, and we were, to your point that I was saying earlier, it was like we kind of knew,
Right.
just by different things that was happening. And I don't know if that's an innate thing, like, if I don't know, but I can say that we knew, right? So I had the conversation with him, and it was around safety. Like, I don't want you to be, which now when I look back at it, so let me just say, I said to him, like, I don't want you to just be like flamboyant and out like in high school, because now this is when social media is like really getting big. Like,
Right.
things will be live forever. Like, I want you to be protected. You know what I'm saying? But now when I look back on it, I do, like you're describing, it feels like this, like I'm putting a cap on who you can be,
Yeah. I
So I,
mean,
I apologize to my son for that, because we don't know what we don't know.
I
And
mean,
as
it's
parents, we're doing the best that we can at the time.
it's like, when you call for a service and you get a quote, like the quote is an estimate,
Mm-hmm.
so you're estimating what my life will
Mm-hmm.
become of my life, like, send me a quote,
Yeah.
like it could be so much more than
Right.
this estimate that you're
Right.
sending me.
Right.
And so for me, I've always been very like, intellectual, you said this, but what about that?
Mm-hmm.
So it just wasn't easy for my mom to steer me to what she felt like was best.
Okay.
When I felt like there was some space for something that was different. And
Mm-hmm.
so that, pushed me into traveling into different spaces
Okay.
in life,
And then you also had your dad who was supportive. So it's like you kind of had
Yeah, yeah.
two
So
different.
yeah, so I met my dad a little late in life.
Okay.
We didn't really actually engage in a lot of conversation and just spending time together until I was maybe about 10 and
Mm-hmm.
upward. So um that was a little different to start. My siblings were very engaging. They were much younger. We had things in common. Some of their daughters were, and sons were my age. My nieces and
Mm-hmm.
nephews, a lot of
Okay.
them are very close in age. So, they were able to kind of steer things as well.
Right.
Some of my sisters are counselors,
Mm-hmm.
educators, and then just, like lifestyle. One of my sisters is a police officer.
Okay.
So they've seen a lot of different
Mm-hmm.
things, and they were able to, steer some of those tough conversations and just be there for me when my dad really couldn't.
Okay.
My dad was a bachelor, so that came with,
Mm-hmm.
me spending a lot of time in different spaces in addition to him,
Right.
but I spent a lot of time with my mom. And
Mm-hmm.
then during this transition of kind of finding out who I was, I kind of bounced around.
Okay.
I lived with my sisters, I lived with my dad for a while, um, and my mom in between. So all of those things were different for quite some time in each space.
Right.
In each space. My dad, I was very free.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, I was very structured.
Right.
My sister was structured to a certain extent, but free.
Mm-hmm.
My sister had nice cars, and she would let me drive her cars to school
Okay.
and hang out and different things.
Right. So let me ask you, do you attribute your a part of your journey and coming out and transitioning into having these different moments where you were in these different spaces where you kind of got to be? Would you say that that was a part of the journey, is being able to like be with your sisters or be with your?
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. I was the beauty shop kid. Um, you know, the different stereotypes they say that when you're in a family that's typically bred of women,
Mm-hmm.
then you gain that femininity.
Do you think that's true?
I I don't know if I can say it's true. Um, I definitely think that it plays a factor in your characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you tend to relate to the people
Right.
that you are with the most.
Mm-hmm.
You look like your mom because you are your mom's child.
Right.
You have characteristics of your mom because your mom raised you.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that that does play a factor. But it depends on the parent,
Yeah.
you know.
So you described your journey as free in gender expression and energy. What has experimenting with your identity taught you about freedom?
Hmm. Um, I have always been an extremely free person, very doing it my way. Let's consider a few ways thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that gaining comfort in my sexuality has allowed me to be a lot liberal. Um, and then also being able to offer others guidance in being exactly who they are as well. I went through a few different phases of different people.
Okay.
I
You mean different people with as within yourself as identity.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about it. So,
Oh my.
This is
I've been
good.
so many different people. I'm a creative,
And I feel like we
so
all have, but I love to hear the story.
I
Tell
mean,
us.
so I think that this current person that I am is very close to the graduation, the 2005 one.
Okay.
The low fade, the clean skin. Like my mom, she loved clean cut. My dad
Mm-hmm.
was clean cut. So I that's where I'm at in life.
Okay.
But coming out and being, crossing those boundaries, like I've gone from having hair to having braids to having locks
Okay.
to, I mean, to jewelry to handbags
Mm-hmm.
to, and it's just some stuff that I'm just no longer aligned with.
Okay. And do you feel like you were probably ahead of your time? Because I feel like creatives are usually ahead of their time.
You,
So like now they're doing the purses and the things, and
now
you
that you
probably was
say
doing
that,
that like 10 to 15 years ago.
now that you say that, I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
And it's aligned with a different type of individual within the community. I always say different strokes for different folks.
Right.
Like I what you like, I like for you.
Mm-hmm.
But um,
Let's talk about it because I know me and you can. So when you talk about different strokes for different folks and how you kind of just described like before you might have would have carried a purse or did this or did that.
mhm.
What's your take on, because I feel like there's so many conversations happening around this, gender, identity, sexuality, all the, pieces to that, and tell me your thoughts from your perspective. And you're okay with me saying how would you like to say queer,
I don't even
gay?
I don't even know.
Because I know that's a thing, and I'm
I'm
like,
so sorry. Maybe gay. Let's go with gay.
okay.
Sorry, guys. Let's go with gay.
But like you're describing, you get to choose, and if you choose something else, that's okay too.
I think I'm okay with all of it.
Okay.
I have so I am essentially the first gay in my family that has came out and's been strong and consistent about it. So there's been a number of other
Okay.
coming out stories thereafter me that I've been able to charge behind with support, right? But that also comes with my individual, ebb and flows of what my circumstances have been like, because I share everything with him.
Mm-hmm.
I've done this before and this happened when I did this. Now, you can go try it. I'll even go with you to try it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going in.
Okay.
I'll be out here. I'll see you when you come out. Call me if I need to come in. I've been that uncle, I've
Okay.
been that cousin. And so, and that's been for those who identify as lesbian, queer, trans,
Mm-hmm.
bi.
Because we have LGBTQ. I feel like it's a
Ooh.
couple more letters
See, like
that we done added.
LGBTQ.
And see, for somebody like you're saying, you're just you want to say gay, like you don't necessarily need to be.
I
And
mean,
this is part of the
for
conversation that I
me,
wanted to have because I think that part of it is it really comes down to who people are, who you are, and where you are in your life, right? So if you want to be called a certain thing, like when we come up with the pronouns and all those things, I think it's okay. It's okay.
and you know what? Like, okay, um, so credit to my gay mom as well. And I'm not even gonna say that this is not a gay mom. This is another maternal figure for me.
Okay.
In that fashion, introducing to this conversation, gay families, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is that segment where your biological family is just not in the best place to accept who you choose to be at that time. And so you curate a family of others. And this typically comes from, other experiences, the clubs, parties,
Mm-hmm.
etc. The people bring you under their wing and they begin to care for you as your mom, your dad,
Mm-hmm.
In
So
my
this person you're describing wasn't your mom, but it was like a mom.
oh
How like we'd
oh
be like our play cousin. This
yeah,
was your
A-
okay.
and I play like she would never be for play. Like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I lived with her.
Okay.
She bought groceries. Like my dad. You know, he helped me through some tough times in life with bit like we one for all for one.
Okay.
Is the standard for this particular family, and
Mm-hmm.
they go far and few. There's tons of different families.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the House of Capri. There's House of Miyake and House of
And tell me what is House of Capri because I'm not familiar.
so it's a family. It's what essentially people would call a gay family, but we're much more than that.
Okay.
It's a camaraderie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we are built together by a strong powerhouse, that allows us to build friendships along the
Okay.
way. And I'm talking about
So
like
your family that you built amongst the group of people that you were encountering and interacting with.
absolutely people that are like you.
Mm-hmm.
It's developmental. Saved me from a lot of not so great situations, and it's the different side of the experiment.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much that your mom or your dad can teach you about being gay.
Right.
But the things that I learned about being gay from someone else who is gay or who is in that
And
lifestyle.
has lived experiences.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the House of Capri was your gay family
Hmm. Hmm.
that taught you, led you, guided you. You could call and have conversation with, ask
I'm
the
talking
hard
4
questions.
o'clock in the morning, two
Okay.
o'clock in the morning, up
I
all
love that.
night, going to the doctor's visits. We're all going as a group to get tested.
Okay.
So my mom was able to meet, my gay mom,
Mm-hmm.
and it gave my mom a new perspective on who and how I was being cared for.
Okay.
And then that also opened up, our relationship, because then she realized like, oh my God, like he's not running the street, he's actually meeting people,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
are positive perspectives for his lifestyle.
Okay.
So, they would even start talking, asking each other's questions. And so it felt good to me because I have a soundboard on both sides.
Right.
So yeah, it was very it was a shift.
Okay.
It
I
was
love
a
it.
it was a heavy shift because I mean, there's a period of time that my mom she couldn't take it, so we
Mm-hmm.
didn't talk. We both couldn't take it. I couldn't take her perspective, and she could not take mine. So we
Right.
missed out on a lot of time, and it came to a point for me where it was like, no, like I'm not just not gonna talk to my mom. So I got to figure out how to help her understand,
Mm-hmm.
where I am in life. But
And it's funny you say that. I appreciate you that, and I gotta have you elaborate a little bit on that because that's actually one of my questions about how you were able to for the listeners because people are going to be listening to this trying to figure out how do I find the balance in having a conversation with a parent that is not fully welcoming or fully prepared or ready to accept.
you know, um, you and I have talked about creating these safe spaces for conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll be honest, like when people come to me and they're like, I want to come out, I'm like, why? I, I promise you, or like, if I have like my nephew will tell you, like he was like, Unc, I think I wanna, do what you do. I'm like, what do I do?
Mm.
I think I wanna talk to guys. I'm like, why? Like, no, you're gonna hate it. Don't do it.
And
Because
why do you feel that way?
I mean, I still deal with hate.
Mm.
The last few years that I was working in clinical research, I traveled quite a bit,
Okay.
and just being in different spaces, different cities, you don't really call where you go. Even when I was a flight attendant, so in between those times, you walk the streets, you tour, you go
Mm-hmm.
you get food, etc.
Right.
So I've experienced people throwing shoes at me.
Oh wow.
I've experienced people screaming at me out of windows, and this is me in a business professional setting, which, like, I mean, you can only imagine. I have on suits,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just the differences between the perception that people have of you. So I've been disrespected even in places that I've worked where I've been like, yeah, this is the end. Like, I got to
Mm.
get out of here. I think that, that a lot of women, and it's sad for me to say, but it's always the African American culture. It's like,
Wow.
why can't we make the difference for some of the things that we know mean a lot to us,
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to figure out how to communicate with people effectively without offending them,
Right.
and it's that one moment where you are offended, where the conversation goes left, and there is no other perspective for you than insulting someone
Right.
based on who they are, for the differences between the uncomfort of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wild.
Yeah. And it
So,
really comes down to ignorance,
uh,
right? Like, not because for me, I'm always, and even I think before, I mean, I've been a therapist for almost 15 years, but even before that, it was more about understanding. Like, first of all, I'm not the judge. Like you said, whatever you do behind closed doors is what you do. But I've also been the person that, like, I want to know because I don't want to offend you.
right.
So, for as a gay person, how do you feel about somebody saying that to you? Like, can you help me understand how I need to address you, how I need to approach you? Would you rather that or
I, you know, I'm I have grown up I've grown in a world of chameleons. I would love, I tell people all the time that I'm good in any space. You know
mhm,
that,
mhm,
like,
mhm.
I can go to a straight club,
Right.
I can go to a gay club, I can go to the Latino club. They
Right.
bang Selena. I'm in there with the hips. You hear me? We can line dance. I could put on my
Right.
boots,
Yes.
my hats.
Baby, them boots. You talking about
Like,
them white boots?
man, I put on the white ones, the brown. Like, so for me, because I'm a creative, I can tap into
Right.
those spaces, and I feel energy, so I can be who I need to be in that space.
Mhm.
That's not common for everyone.
Right.
And
And do you feel
so,
like that's a job or that it's hard? Challenging, I
mm,
should say. Do you feel like it's work within work to have to be a chameleon? Because I heard you describe it as kind of being a chameleon.
I think that it's what you make it. Being a part of this individual line of career, this market, you got to get in where you fit in. You go into a house party, you should do a house party vibe.
Mhm. Mhm.
I've retained clients in some of the weirdest places for the differences between them just liking who I represent myself to be in that space.
Okay.
So, it's always on.
Mhm.
It's always on. I can't turn it off.
Okay. I like it. I had a couple more questions as we wrap up. Do you feel like there's a difference between gender identity and gender energy? And how do you express both in everyday life and in your creative work?
Hmm. I, I'm a dude all day. Um, for lack of better terms, I'm a nigga all
Okay.
day.
Okay.
All
Okay.
day. All day. You can catch this, or you can catch this, or these.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm me all day.
Yeah.
I don't try to steer from that. And
So because I feel like for language, you would say you're a male, right? Because right, you
him,
identify as male,
definitely
him.
him. Now, it's funny that you say that, because so at one point in life, definitely between the differences and transitions, like, everything that I do well, I've done on myself. So I've worn makeup,
Mhm.
I've worn hair. It's a part of perfecting the craft for me.
Okay.
Which allows me to be able to cross into doing male hair, doing female hair,
Mhm.
doing male wardrobe,
Right.
doing female wardrobe. Like, I know what it feels like to wear pumps. I know they hurt, but we're gonna rock them. You know.
Okay.
I,
Yeah, because you be like, girl, you got to put on some heat.
you gotta
Honey,
give it to me.
he digged in that closet and was like, ma'am.
Ma'am. Ma'am.
Because I'm going to throw on them Nikes. So they'll be just fine.
all y'all know it. Like, you know, we got to step. We big steppers.
Right.
You know, now you can take them off at some point. Some point. Right.
Like that.
Right. Yeah. This is a comfy space. But, you know, I've learned to walk in my own stride. So, but I was telling you that the he, her, him thing. I've had relationships with other people,
okay,
in different points of life where, you know, at one point the her, she, girl thing was a common for the culture.
Okay.
You know, the gay culture is easy to, you know, girl, stop, you know. But also, like, I get that from my client perspective too. Like, I don't know if you've ever done it before, but, you know, like, we talk, you know, like, y'all my girls, so we get on the phone and we talk. So it's never like, you know, you're not talking to a bill collector, you know. So I've gotten that, and girl, let me tell you, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry, Ryan, and I'm like, it's cool either way. Like, you know, I want the energy from the conversation, so I'm not even really paying attention to the pronouns.
Because I'm definitely guilty of that. Because I'll be like, child and girl.
Yeah.
But that's whether it's you or my daughter. You know, like, it's just
I'm not in the pronouns, but I've been in situations where at one point, you know, the girl, this was cool, and then now it's not.
Right.
So it's tough for me because...
Or even bitch. I feel like that's like, we be like, that's
I am definitely a bitch.
If we're in the setting and we having a good conversation, it's like, man, did you see what happened?
I am definitely a bitch. Yeah, I'm definitely that. So I
But I think we should educate people on, do you feel like it's because we're comfortable and we know each other? Like, you don't want to be like out somewhere and somebody, you know what I'm saying? Somebody you don't know. Like, will you take offense if it's like, you're like, well, you don't even really know me like that to be.
Agreed.
And I think that's where the line.
But I also think that that's where the energy is, right? Okay. Like, you know, I'm a creative, and I'm always on brand, and I'm always looking to brand. So if someone feels comfortable enough to walk up to me and say, "Bitch, I love this look," yes, you deserve that, right? And I'm not offended, right? Because, bitch, thank you. You know what I mean? Okay. You know, like, you know, bitch, here go my card. Right. Call me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know, but, you know, I think it's a different perspective of how you can perceive it. You know, I'm always looking for the positive part.
Right. Presume innocence. One of my favorite people, Fawn Weaver, said that in an interview she did a little while back on Latarius Whitfield's show, actually. And she was like, for her husband, and it was about relationship, but I feel like it's universal in relationship, whether it's friendship or, you know, your partner or whoever, to presume innocence. Like, why are people so...
It was the same thing for me with my partner. Like, you know, at a period of time, you know, we did not live together. And so it was like, why he not answering the phone for me? When he gonna call me back? Oh, so you gonna get online and not call me back? Do you see?
Because I see you scrolling.
Do you see me? Because I know you. Oh, you gonna like my so you like my... Oh, he liked my picture, but he didn't call me back. But then, you know, like, then you get upset. Oh, so you just gonna let hours go by? Then you get a text. Oh, I was taking a nap. What you doing? Oh, man, I've been pissed for hours and you taking a nap? Right. Like, I gotta do something else with this energy, you know?
And that has all to do with you and not the other person.
Right. So it taught me patience, though. But, you know, it also gave me the differences in perspective. You know, like, why go to a negative space? So, you know, like, times or any other time after that, when he didn't answer the phone, I was like, oh, he taking a nap. You know, it might have been the next time that it was like, oh, I was outside more in the yard. Oh, he more in the yard. Like, I'm going to give him all of the excuses that he's, I'm going to
Right.
offer him that because I
Yeah.
don't know. And why am I guessing?
And it's grace. Like, and why even put that on yourself?
Yeah, it's like, let me find something else to do.
I love that. I love that. So I always ask a couple final wrap up questions. So share a defining moment that shifted everything for you.
Um, hmm. I think, death always shifts things. You know, yeah, death always shifts things. Like I said, I'm a beauty shop kid, and those individuals that own the beauty shops, that led the beauty shops, they knew who I was. And
Okay.
so they know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so, all of them individually played a major factor. All the creatives, like I have an aunt that paints, and I have an uncle that's an artist that does
Okay.
sculptures, and I have another aunt that does hair, and I learned from my cousin how to braid, and learned how to weave from my aunt, and
Okay.
I have a cousin that does jewelry, and
Right.
all of those different individual moments were shifts, because they were unbeknownst to the community because of their lifestyles.
Mm.
And so they offered me a different level of acceptance.
Okay.
I even had an aunt that worked in diversity at Shell,
Okay.
so she's
Wow.
working amongst all these people, and
Mm-hmm.
she's like telling my mom, like, look, I work with these gay guys and they are bomb. Like,
Right.
he's gonna be bomb.
Okay.
Like, let's just help him out. Like, I promise he's gonna be good. And like
Right.
even now, those moments I still appreciate.
I love it.
It's a driving force. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta be the bomb.
Okay. I love
I
it.
have to.
If you could have dinner with 1 to 3 guests,
Ooh.
name 1 or 3, and what question would you ask?
1 to 3 guess.
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive? I'm definitely talking to the dead. Because all the people alive, they're going to be my guests. I don't have to dream about those. They're going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're already written. So let's go to the dead.
Okay.
Um, I need my dad back at the table. I need my dad at the table. Um, my dad died. He died sooner than I feel like that I was. Um, let's see. Sooner than I was mentally prepared to have real conversations with him.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that.
I think that, at this point in my life, I understand him, and I do so much like him. So it would be great to talk to him and live some of these moments, with him. I think he would be extremely excited. So my dad would be one. Um, my grandmother. My grandmother would be two, like, number one cheerleader. Like, I feel like she knew.
Right.
Oh my gosh,
What
like,
question would you ask?
so to my dad, I would definitely ask questions in regards to his lifestyle at this age. I get a lot of, you dress just like your dad, you smell just like him, you look, you smile, you this. So I would like to know um what his life was like at this age, and then, also what he thinks about what I've made of myself,
Okay.
you know. Um my grandmother, definitely her back at the table. Um I'd like to know more about um her lifestyle when I feel like she was in a happy space.
Okay.
My grandmother suffered with a lot of different illnesses throughout life, and just struggles for the differences in, the care she had to offer other
Right.
people, and, just, that mental weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to know more because I was much younger.
Right.
So again, like, not at that age to really have those real conversations,
Right.
like I want to have a drink with my grandmother, and,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I love that.
Um, and then the rest, The rest I would say would be my beauty shop homies. Like my aunt Shirley.
Okay.
She did hair back in the day. The big bouffant hair.
Okay.
My aunt Boo. She did big bouffant hair too back in the day.
I love it.
Sew-ins with 17 bags of hair.
Listen, so the hair is in your genes. I love that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it comes natural.
Okay.
It comes natural. Yeah, from all parts, whether it's the sew-ins, my aunt Chris, she definitely taught me how to cut, or have the eye to cut.
Right.
I was so scared to cut hair when I was younger because
Mm-hmm.
a haircut is a make or break. It's
Right.
either you do it right or you do it
Or you got to
wrong.
do it real, it's gonna be real bad.
So that's where all the different aesthetics come from with just, because people send me pictures now and they're like, hey, I want to look like this. And I'm like, give me 10 minutes,
Okay.
and
I love it.
15 minutes later.
One final thought to share with the shifters.
Um, I think we should continue shifting. I think that this particular topic is something that is major for our community. I think that it's going to be up to us to make the difference. I definitely think that we need to work together in order to create a positive space for our other LGBTQ individuals. And if we can't be positive, then let's try not to be negative.
Right.
What
our girl Tabitha say? You can't.
What does
You
Tabitha
got
not
what she how
say?
she say? If you don't got nothing nice to say,
Right.
listen.
What does Tabitha
Or
not say?
what our mamas used to tell us. You don't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing. Just keep it
What she
hush.
say? That's my business.
Right.
Yeah. So mind your business.
Remember, the shift is happening now. Look, I don't know which camera I'm supposed to be looking in.
We had all of them.
Ryan reminded us that the journey of alignment isn't about fitting in. It's about finally letting yourself be fully seen. From producing magic behind the scenes to showing up with heart and vulnerability, his story really is a masterclass in becoming. Keep following Ryan's work and let it challenge you to create with your soul and live with your full self in the light. Remember, the shift is happening now.